Imagine a legendary American car, synonymous with road trips, family adventures, and that unmistakable Chevy feel, making its comeback. Now picture it not just resurrected, but fundamentally reimagined. No roaring gasoline engine, no familiar growl, just the smooth hum of electricity. This isn't science fiction. The Chevrolet Impala, a symbol of American motoring for decades, may soon return as an electric sedan. But here's the twist. Its heart might actually be Chinese. How did we get here? Why is General Motors, a Detroit titan, seriously considering importing or adapting a Chinese-designed electric car platform for one of the most iconic badges in U.S. auto history? And crucially, could this move spark a revolution in affordable, practical EVs for millions of North Americans? Or will it backfire in the face of political, logistical, and cultural obstacles? Let's dive into a story where Wall Street, Washington, and Beijing collide on four wheels. Welcome to the future, or perhaps the ultimate test, for American car culture and global technology. To understand why the future of the Chevy Impala might be arriving by way of China, we need to rewind. The Impala's story began in 1958, when Chevrolet launched it as a luxurious, roomy sedan for American families. Over the next 6 decades, it became a byword for comfort, reliability, and sheer space, the kind of car whose backseat could swallow 3 generations for a Sunday drive. But by 2020, the world had changed. SUVs and crossovers dominated U.S. driveways, gas prices swung wildly, and a younger generation wanted something different from their vehicles. The once mighty Impala faded away, its production ending after more than 60 years. GM, like other American automakers, was caught between nostalgia and the new realities of the car market. At the same time, a technological revolution was brewing. Electric vehicles, once quirky science projects, were going mainstream. For years, Tesla had the North American EV sedan market almost entirely to itself, especially in the mid-size and full-size segments. Other automakers struggled to keep up or simply bet on SUVs and trucks instead. The gap left by cars like the Impala widened, and buyers wanting something practical and affordable in an electric sedan found slim pickings. But halfway around the world, things looked very different. In China, the world's largest car market and a fierce global EV battleground, GM wasn't just another foreign company, it had a powerful ally. Wuling, a joint venture with Chinese partners, allowed GM to experiment quickly, iterate designs, and launch new models at a blistering pace. The result? The Wuling Mini EV, a tiny city car, became China's best-selling EV for 2 straight years, outselling giants like Tesla and BYD in sheer volume. This partnership gave birth to something even more ambitious, the Wuling Starlight EV. With its modern styling, roomy cabin, and up to 315 miles of range in Chinese testing, roughly 255 miles by U.S. standards, it's a direct challenger to legacy sedans, but this time, fully electric. And the Starlight EV isn't just a curiosity for the Chinese market. Industry insiders and auto enthusiasts have started to ask, could this be the foundation for the next Chevy Impala? Let's pause here for a second. The idea of a Chevy sedan based on a Chinese platform might sound radical, but look closer, and it fits a pattern. Global carmakers now routinely share platforms across continents. Take the Cadillac Optic, another GM creation, built in China and Mexico, aimed at capturing the lower-priced premium EV market. The old barriers between American, European, and Asian auto manufacturing have blurred. It's about meeting global demand, staying competitive, and, let's be honest, surviving a tidal wave of change. Mainstream U.S. consumers prioritize price and practicality over high-performance EVs, says Sam Abwelsamid, principal analyst at Guidehouse Insights. He adds that for GM, tapping into Wuling's low-cost production and fast development cycle could be a game-changer. But what makes the Starlight EV special? For starters, the numbers. 2 battery options, a smaller 9.5 kilowatt-hour pack for city commuters, and a 20.5 kilowatt-hour pack offering up to 150 kilometers, about 93 miles, on the generous Chinese test cycle, or, in long-range trim, up to 315 miles CLTC, or about 255 miles real-world EPA. Its 130 kilowatt, 174 horsepower motor and 320 Nm of torque deliver real-world pep, and the spacious 2,800 mm wheelbase means genuine comfort for 4, even 5 adults. Look past the Wuling badge, and it's not hard to imagine the Chevy bow tie on that sleek black metallic bodywork. Inside, the Starlight EV feels modern and premium. soft touch materials, a clean dashboard design, and the latest Ling OS infotainment system, tailored for China but easily adaptable for American tastes. The emphasis is on comfort, not flash, a nod to what Impala owners have always valued. But the real magic may be price. In China, Wuling has proven that compelling electric cars can undercut rivals by thousands of dollars, thanks to mass production, local supply chains, and relentless focus on cost. It's no wonder industry analysts like Ivan Drury of Edmunds say, an electric Impala could resonate with budget-conscious buyers seeking a familiar and trusted name. Let's not kid ourselves, though. Turning a Chinese-made EV into an American icon is no easy feat. Regulations loom large. U.S. safety and emission standards are stricter than China's, and there's the thorny issue of tariffs and trade politics. Could a Chinese-made sedan even be sold as a Chevy in America without navigating a minefield of import taxes and public backlash? Michael Dunn, CEO of ZozoGo, puts it plainly. GM can leverage its Wuling partnership to introduce affordable EVs to North America, but political and logistical obstacles must be overcome. And then there's the question of identity. The Impala was never just a list of technical specs. It was a cultural touchstone. Could American buyers embrace a vehicle born in China, even if it wears a Chevy badge? Would they see it as authentic or a shadow of its former self? On the business side, GM faces pressure from all directions. Tesla dominates the U.S. EV sedan market, yet many buyers simply can't afford a new Model 3 or prefer the familiarity of a brand like Chevrolet. Auto-Pacific analysts argue GM needs a compelling, affordable EV sedan to challenge Tesla and keep foreign competitors at bay. With Ford, Toyota, and even Hyundai focusing heavily on crossovers, sedans are an open battlefield, but the clock is ticking. If GM waits too long, the window might close forever. Success hinges on effective marketing and differentiation within the crowded EV landscape, warns Jessica Caldwell of Edmunds. The old tricks, chrome, horsepower, muscle car nostalgia, might not be enough. The new Impala would need to convince a new generation that it's more than a badge swap, that it's truly built for their needs and wallets. There are also real technical challenges. U.S. safety regulations require more robust crash structures and advanced driver assistance systems than are mandatory in China. Adapting the Starlight EV for U.S. roads isn't just a matter of swapping out the software or logos. It could mean a full engineering overhaul, and that costs time and money, two things GM can't afford to waste. Yet the potential rewards are massive. If GM can crack the code, offering a spacious, practical, and affordable electric sedan with the Impala's name and modern Chinese engineering, they could redefine what an American car means in the electric age. Some experts go even further. Lei of Sino Auto Insights says, the Wuling Starlight EV showcases China's prowess in producing stylish yet affordable EVs. If GM gets it right, they could leapfrog rivals and re-establish the sedan as a centerpiece in their North American lineup. But the biggest obstacles may not be mechanical or even financial. They're ideological. Will American consumers embrace a fusion of Detroit heritage and Chinese innovation, or will old prejudices and political tensions keep them away? And what about the broader implications for manufacturing jobs, supply chains, and national identity? As we stand on the edge of this potential reinvention, one thing is clear. The resurrection of the Impala is more than just a car story. It's a window into the future of globalization, technology, and what we want from our vehicles. Will the Impala become a pioneer or a casualty of the new automotive order? In the next chapter, we'll dig deep into the strategies GM might employ, the fierce debates raging behind closed doors, and what this all means for American drivers. But before we get there, ask yourself, would you trust your next car to be a true Chevy if its DNA is born in China? Or does the badge on the hood still matter most of all? Let's pick up right where we left off. The legendary Impala emblem, reimagined for a new era, but forged thousands of miles from Detroit's assembly lines. Can GM pull this off? Let's dive into the ripple effects, the possibilities, and the risks of such an audacious move. Imagine for a moment the very first Chevy Impala EV rolling onto American roads. The badge is classic, but under the sheet metal, it's a thoroughly global machine, born of GM's collaboration with Wuling in China. For decades, foreign partnerships have been the backbone of automotive progress, but never has the origin story been such a double-edged sword. On one hand, there's unprecedented efficiency and technological flexibility. On the other, there's a tough question of identity. Is an Impala still an Impala if it's more Wuling than Warren, Michigan? Scenario 1. The electric Impala, with its affordable price and modern styling, takes the U.S. market by storm. Consumers, frustrated by the lack of mainstream electric sedans, are drawn to a familiar nameplate at practical price points. Auto Pacific's analysts believe that this could finally give GM the edge it needs to challenge Tesla, and perhaps even steal the thunder from upstarts like Hyundai's Ioniq 6 or VW's ID.7. Sam Abwelsamid from Guidehouse Insights puts it simply: mainstream U.S. consumers prioritize price and practicality over high-performance EVs. Here's what makes this scenario so tantalizing. The Wuling Starlight EV already has the bones of a great American sedan. Its 2,800mm wheelbase is nearly identical to the last gas-powered Impala, and it's even wider, a real plus for American comfort. And with over 250 miles of real-world range in the larger battery, the numbers check many of the boxes for family sedan buyers. Plus, the Starlight's cabin is quietly upscale, with soft-touch surfaces, a modern infotainment system, and seating for 5 adults, the kind of interior that used to be the pride of Detroit's finest. Scenario 2. The market recoils. Headlines shout about the Chinese Impala, and buyers, swayed by political rhetoric or old biases, keep their distance. Regulatory concerns slow the rollout, as U.S. authorities scrutinize every weld and wire for compliance with strict American safety and emissions standards, stricter, in many ways, than China's own. There's also the not-so-small matter of tariffs and import quotas, which could jack up prices and erase the affordability advantage GM was banking on. Political winds in Washington are unpredictable, and trade tensions with China have only intensified in recent years. Michael Dunn from ZozoGo warns, GM can leverage its Wuling partnership to introduce affordable EVs to North America, but political and logistical obstacles must be overcome. Scenario 3. The Impala EV finds a niche. Maybe it doesn't break records, but it attracts a loyal following among value-conscious drivers, those who remember the Impala's heyday, and those who see EV ownership as an economic and practical choice, not a luxury statement. Here, Ivan Drury at Edmunds makes an important point. An electric Impala could resonate with budget-conscious buyers seeking a familiar and trusted name. The trick, of course, is messaging. Is it heritage reborn, or a foreign interloper borrowing a once mighty badge? The consequences go far beyond GM's balance sheet. If the Impala EV finds traction, it could prove that American consumers are ready to embrace globalized design if the product is compelling enough. It could encourage other automakers to look overseas for cost-effective EV platforms, potentially accelerating EV adoption by slashing sticker prices. On the other hand, a flop could set back cross-Pacific collaborations for years, reinforcing the perception that American brands can't bridge the cultural divide. Let's not overlook the technical risks. Even if GM can graft American safety systems onto the Starlight's architecture, there will be mountains of engineering work to do before it's even legal to sell in the United States. Battery technology, charging port compatibility, and connectivity with U.S. charging networks will all require careful adaptation. And of course, the Impala badge brings with it certain expectations: ride comfort, interior space, and a sense of solidity that may require more than just badge engineering. Fail to deliver, and the backlash will be swift. But what if GM takes a different route? There's speculation that instead of simply rebadging the Starlight, they might use its platform as a base, but fundamentally re-engineer the vehicle for the North American market. Think sturdier crash structures, US spec infotainment, and a uniquely American interior. This hybrid approach would take longer and cost more, but it could result in a car that honors the Impala's legacy while pushing the brand into the electric future. Whatever GM chooses, it's a gamble. But one thing is clear: the tide of globalization is rising. The old days of American manufacturers producing solely in the US are fading, and the new era will be defined by collaboration across borders. So what does all this mean for you, the viewer, the car buyer, the enthusiast, or the skeptic? First, it means that the choices arriving on American lots in the next few years will look, feel, and drive very differently from the cars you grew up with. Legacy brands like Chevy are being forced to reinvent themselves, both to survive and to lead in a world that's switching to electric. If you're shopping for an EV, you'll soon face a new set of trade-offs: price, range, charging speed, all the classic factors. But now, also, where was it made? Who designed it? And do those things matter as much as they used to? The era of badge loyalty is over. The best car for you may be the one that's the most practical, affordable, and suited to your needs, regardless of its passport. There's a lesson here for all of us, not just car buyers. The auto industry is a mirror for the world's big shifts, economic, technological, and cultural. We're witnessing what happens when tradition collides with necessity. The great brands survive by adapting, not by standing still. As Jessica Caldwell from Edmunds reminds us, the success hinges on effective marketing and differentiation within the crowded EV landscape. So, will the new Impala succeed? Can GM bridge classic American heritage with 21st century innovation? And will consumers respond? The answer, as is so often the case in the auto world, is it depends. It depends on GM's willingness to invest in Americanizing the product, to market it as more than just another import, and to price it where regular buyers can actually afford it. It depends on whether the Impala name still carries weight, whether it still means something to people who remember family road trips or Saturday night cruises in a car that was the pride of Detroit. Crucially, it depends on us, the buyers. Are we ready to embrace a future where national borders matter less than ideas, where a great car is a global car? Or does the soul of the Impala and cars like it reside in something less tangible, a sense of place, a nostalgia that can't be shipped halfway around the world? Here's a secret fact. Even in the Impala's golden era, the car was more international than most people realized. By the late 1970s, Impalas were quietly assembled from parts sourced globally, engines from Canada, transmissions from Mexico, electronics from Japan. Today's debates echo those same arguments. The difference is that the change is speeding up, and the stakes are higher than ever. So, whether you're excited or anxious about a Chinese-derived Impala, now's the time to pay attention. The way GM navigates this crossroads will set the tone for the next decade of American motoring. Will you accept a globalized future if it delivers a better electric car? Or will the next great American sedan need to be built the old-fashioned way for tradition's sake? If you made it this far, you have a front-row seat for one of the biggest showdowns in automotive history. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Can heritage and innovation really go hand in hand, or are some icons best left in the past? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of the Impala and the wild new reality of car making, hit subscribe for more stories that cut through the hype.